Earlier this morning, the Carolina Hurricanes, Washington Capitals Stadium Series jerseys were finally released to the public. And I definitely have some thoughts on them. And I know a lot of Hurricanes fans do as well. And we will be talking about that in this special edition of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you are listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Thursday morning, afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon. It's one of those weird times in the day. But as always, you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get started today. And now, folks, it's time to talk about these Stadium Series jerseys. This is what this entire episode is going to be about. They were finally released to the public. And first off, the Hurricanes one is the same one that was leaked back in 2020. So if you didn't like it then, you're not going to like it now. But with this one, I definitely have some thoughts on it for sure. And with it, the reaction has been mixed online from what I've seen so far this morning. The initial reveal, when it's just like the two models wearing it, it was not a good reaction. There's a lot of folks, there were folks that said they did like it. But then we had the full setups, with the helmets, the shorts, everything with Sebastian Aho and Andrei Svechnikov, in them, and they looked better there. And I will say it. Let's just look at them, guys. Let's just look at them. All right. And I'm gonna share my screen with you here, and it's so we're looking at these, and the shorts and the helmet, those are good, and I like those. So I feel like they lack character. That is my biggest thing here, is that these uniforms just lack character. And make it a little bit bigger for you guys that are watching on YouTube so you can see it better. They look like every other jersey, and they don't stand out. And while we have the logo here, I like the blacked out logo. I like that, but I feel like it just does not stand out at all. It looks like something you would just see on a rack and just walk by it. So many folks, organizations, in NHL, NBA, NFL, just across sports, they always just go with black jerseys. And this just feels like it was played very, very safe. And, I'm using the full setup here, because that's what we're going to be seeing. It looks uninspired and it lacks character. Is it inherently bad? No. It's not straight up bad and ugly. It's not Nashville's Smashville jerseys from last year. It's not that. But one thing that those jerseys at least had was the fact that they had character. They were ugly as crap, but they had character. And that's the big thing here is that they had character. These do not. And that is my biggest criticism with them. The helmets, those are cool. I like those. The big logo, the numbers. You couldn't really tell in that picture, but yeah, at this point, a lot of folks have since seen those. Those are cool. The shorts, those are cool. Where they have, the massive, like winning flag logo on there. That's cool. And one thing we saw in the video was the captaincy has the warning flags in it. I like that. I'm surprised they haven't done that in general. But the jersey itself is bland and uninspired. I'm sorry. I've seen where people, really like it. They didn't like it at first, and now the full setup's out. They like it. Sorry, it's not for me. And it, this whole bold and modern thing that they're doing with this, it lack. It doesn't have that it factor. One thing I talked about with the other co-hosts this morning whenever they were released was that they both, the Hurricanes and the Capitals, look like they were made in a video game. It looks like something, if I'm playing or you're playing and we're like making a team or making a jersey, it looks like something we would make there. And not necessarily in a good way. Because if this was just the jersey, we got, whenever the game was originally supposed to happen, you know, my thoughts would probably still be the same for the most part, but that game didn't happen back in 2020. That game is happening in 2023. They had all that time to tweak and redo these jerseys because the reaction was kind of the same then. Not great. And I feel like it has made the reaction to today even worse because nothing got changed. Don Waddell said it wasn't going to be that leak. It is that leak. And it just, like I said, it just feels uninspired. That's my biggest thing. The Capitals, I really don't like that one. That the Weagle or whatever they're calling it logo, it is way too big. I mean, since they put out theirs, I do like that it's kind of embossed. That is very cool, and I do like that. But I don't like those jerseys, but I at least give them that they tried something different. They got a little weird with it, and the Hurricanes didn't. The Stadium Series jerseys, they've never been, like the Winter Classics, I guess you would say. They've never been like a classic jersey, where it's like one like, yeah, that is like that's like one of the team's like all-time best jerseys, like Pittsburgh's this year. I love that jersey. I think it's really cool. Uh, Same with Boston's. I think both of those jerseys were really freaking cool. And a lot of times Stadium Series, that's where teams go weird with it. But the Hurricanes didn't. They played it too safe. I like the idea of that blacked out swirl logo. I like the idea of it, but it just was not executed well, in my opinion. It looks like a video game, or you're in high school design class or something, and that's your project or whatever. And same with the Washington one. It looks like a video game or a high school project. and not necessarily in the best way. But they are what we got. And I saw someone say this morning that they probably didn't get changed because Adidas had already made up a whole bunch of them and they were just sitting in a warehouse. So, like, oh, we already got them made. We got to use them, which is why they honestly kind of do look a little dated. The Hurricanes look, very like 2019. If you remember that Penguin Stadium series where it was basically the exact same thing, where it was like all black but with the yellow. This is all black but with the red, very much like that. And yeah, it is what it is. It's what we got, and it's here. We can finally do the Hurricanes jersey tier list. But one other thing I do want to touch on is the fact that as of today, it's 3 weeks away from the Stadium Series game. And obviously, I know that the Hurricanes didn't have control in that, but we do need to talk about why this happened the way it did, and we will do that right after this quick break. Now, folks, the NFL playoffs are here, and we're really excited to tell you about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the number one sports book in America, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. New customers join today to get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed. When you place your first $5 bet, just sign up at fanduel.com/locked on. FanDuel has all of your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. We got the Stadium Series coming up 3 weeks away, so FanDuel has you covered for that. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with same game parlay. All on the app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So, football fans, hockey fans, baseball, basketball, just sports fans in general. Don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose at fanduel.com/locked on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Now, moving back to the Stadium Series jerseys. Yeah, I don't like them. And it's not even that I don't like them. I'm just disappointed. That's more apt, is I'm disappointed by them. And I'm disappointed by the NHL and their handling of this Stadium Series in general. And because if it is true that these were just sitting in a warehouse, waiting, waiting for it, you know, why weren't these released sooner? Because they weren't changed, at least on the Hurricanes. And I do not know about the Capitals in. We're just gonna say for the Hurricanes. These have been made up for years now. Why did it take so long to drop them? It's 3 weeks before the game. Saturday is 3 weeks to the day before the game. Why are you waiting so long to do this? Because this just does not make sense from a business perspective, and let alone a fan perspective of someone that was looking forward to this and potentially getting one, giving you my hard-earned money. Why'd you wait so long? And, the marketing hasn't been there either. The marketing, for this has just been fumble after fumble. If you guys, follow me on social media, you know that I posted the Stadium Series like lamppost banners with the official logos for the Hurricanes and the Capitals. I posted a picture of those before the NHL, the Hurricane. Well, we'll just say the NHL because they're running the show on this. before the NHL even officially released the logos. These banners were already up. You got folks like me and other folks posting these pictures of them already being out. And the marketing just hasn't been there. If you're not a Hurricanes fan or a Capitals fan, or really just a hockey fan in general, you're not knowing about this. And within God, it was like within the past week, they put the big things on the side of the building of Sebastian Aho in North Hills and Svetch downtown. Like, yeah, those are there. And you got these lamppost banners, but why are you just putting those up now? Yeah, the lamppost stuff was there, prior to Christmas. Because I remember when I went to go see the new Avatar movie is when I saw them. We'll assume they had been there a few days before. Why weren't those building things up sooner? You had the holidays, a whole bunch of folks in town. Why didn't you put them up then? Think about, all the Christmas lights, people, taking those pictures of all the Christmas lights. Boom, you got Sebastian Aho up there. Boom, you got Andrei Svechnikov up there. Why weren't you putting that up sooner? This should have been stuff that was going up in the beginning of December. The banners, the building stuff, all that should have been up, at the beginning of December, so people can be seeing it, because people are going to be out shopping and seeing that. And speaking of shopping, why weren't those jerseys dropped in time for the holidays? Even if you didn't have enough ready to go, to meet the demand. Say you only had, I really don't know how many they'd make, but all right, you can pre-order. Let's just say pre-order. You didn't have available pre-order. All right, and then you got to make more. You got those other in the warehouse. Boom, you can ship those out pretty quick, or whatever. Why weren't those released prior to the holidays? To where folks can be spending money. Again, yeah, I may not be the biggest fan of these, but think about that bag that the NHL fumbled by not putting those out before the holidays. And it could have been, that was so much money just left on the table, whether it be jerseys, hats, shirts, hoodies, all of this merchandise, just left it on the table, and it just makes no sense. All that you can really say is it's the NHL being the NHL. They've fumbled the bag a lot with stuff. If you remember the playoff schedules, taking forever for those to come out, and it makes no sense as to why they did that and handled it the way they did. The marketing, again, hasn't been there. You're not seeing a whole bunch of commercials about this. Yeah, you'll see some, but it's not getting pushed, and it just doesn't make sense. Like, oh, you're gonna push this, 3 weeks ahead of time? Like, no, this should have been beginning of December type stuff. And it makes no sense. I guess they're like, oh, well, this tickets are already sold out. What's it matter? No, yeah, your game sold out, but think about all the merchandise that you could have been selling for the holidays and still selling now. Like, okay, you had all the stuff for Christmas. Then you got people, and heck, your Black Friday. Oh my God, the Hurricanes, they're blacked out jerseys. They are what they are. Why didn't you drop those on Black Friday? That would have been awesome. You could have leaned into that whole marketing aspect for the Hurricanes of just, or however you wanted to do it. But it just does not make sense of why it was handled the way it was. But it is what it is at this point. They're finally here. We can do the jersey tier list video and episode. But I just feel like the ball was dropped by the NHL. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of you guys that listen to the show, do follow a lot of the members of the Hurricanes organization on Twitter and social media, and you'll know that they wanted this stuff dropped before Christmas, so they could be selling it for Christmas, or at least pre-orders for Christmas. And that was a lot of money left on the table by the NHL. And it is what it is now. Christmas is come and gone. It's January 26th. The game is on the 17th of February, and we're finally getting the jerseys. It is what it is now. But we'll talk about more of what I would have liked to have seen from these jerseys. We've talked about the NHL fumbling the marketing with this. My initial thoughts on these. Now we're going to talk about what I actually wanted from these jerseys, and we'll do that right after this. All right, folks, we're back, and it's time to talk about what I wanted from these Stadium Series jerseys. Obviously, we already talked about, these ones that we have do not have any character. They are very uninspired. Are they bad? No. They're not inherently bad, but they just blend into the crowd. They do not stand out. They look like something you design in a video game or a high school design project. Yeah. If you agree with that, awesome. If you don't, awesome. That's fine. We all have our own opinions on these. But what I wanted from these, I already said, these don't have character. And I would have liked a jersey with character. I brought up the Smashville Stadium Series jersey. They're ugly as sin, but they at least have character. They are very Nashville, and you can't say that it's not Nashville. They leaned into the Smashville nickname. They put it on the jersey. And I commend them for that. Again, you could not pay me. Well, you can maybe pay me to wear that jersey. It depends on how much it is. But, it had character. I brought up the both Winter Classic jerseys from this year. Yeah, the Penguins and the Bruins. They had character. And that's the big thing I would have wanted from this. If you remember back at the start of the season, that Stormy logo that dropped, where it's kind of like marching, or very akin to the NC State Wolfpack logo. That should have been your Stadium Series logo right there. You're playing in a college football stadium. Why didn't you lean into the college aspect of it? That logo has some freaking character, and it stands out. There's nothing else like that in the NHL. Whether it's primary, alternate, one-off jersey, nothing is like that in the NHL. Why didn't they go with that? I'll put that on the jersey. That could have been so freaking cool if they went like that. Yeah, they may be, trying to, keep both teams, along a same, theme and, kind of design-ish, I guess you would say. But man, that marching Stormy, that was perfect. They had it perfect. Slap that on a jersey. It would have been so perfect. It would have been awesome. We've all seen kind of like the mock-ups of it. I've seen red, black, and white. Kind of with some stripes, and then the logo there in the middle. That's obviously kind of rough and whatnot. But you have these professionals that design it. They could have made it work. I think they really should have leaned into the college aspect of it. I saw someone say that these look very, modern college football, and that's the problem. Everyone's going for this new, bold, modern look, like I talked about earlier, and they're all looking the same. Nothing is standing out. Everything looks uninspired, and it, there's no character. It all looks like the same jersey on the rack. And that's a big thing. It the marching stormy logo would have been perfect. And you have, and even if you didn't want to go that route, look at some of these artists that are being commissioned to design warm up jerseys and look at how good they are. You know, first one that comes to mind, the Vancouver Pride Night jersey. Look at that. That was awesome. Some of the Hispanic Heritage Night jerseys, those have been really awesome. Commission some of these artists that you're doing, this work with. Work with some of them on these Stadium Series jerseys. That would have been awesome. Whether it was a local artist, in North Carolina or in the greater DC area, for both of these teams, man, I this feels like a boardroom jersey. And I know we're talking about that towards the end of the episode. It feels like it was something that was just, both of them feel like something that was designed in a boardroom. Like I said, that marching stormy, that was the perfect Stadium Series logo. Perfect. And they dropped the ball on it. And again, I'm not putting this, solely on the Hurricanes because it's not just on them. The NHL obviously, has a massive hand in games like this, where it's Stadium Series, Winter Classic, Heritage Classic, all this stuff. Or, so it's not all on them, but a lot was left on the table here. And, whether it be money, potential designs, whatever. Because, you look at the All-Star game jerseys this year. We haven't talked about those yet. Those have character. Looking very 90s, looking very Miami Vice, of leaning into the environment in which they're, or the location, not environment. What is this, National Geographic? But they're leaning into where they're playing. Down in South Florida. It has character. These Stadium Series jerseys do not. And again, they look very late 2010s. They do. And again, that's a lack of character. They do not stand out. They should have went with that marching stormy. That's what they should have done. I'm not a graphic design artist by any means. I could not, draw it. You saw the extent of what I did. I just motioned to myself. But it is what it is now. It's the jersey we got. It's what we're going to see here in 3 weeks. And, we'll continue to move forward with it. I don't think it's the last time we'll ever see the Hurricanes in an outdoor game. So I think there will be an opportunity to, improve on this. Is it going to be the next 2-3 years? Considering they are not an original 6 team, no, it will not happen in the next 2 years. 2 to 3 years, but a few years down the line, maybe like 5 years from now or something like that, I think we could be seeing the Hurricanes in another outdoor game. And I do hope that they learn from this and make something with some character. That it makes something that pops and stands out. That's the biggest thing, going forward. If and when the Hurricanes have another chance at an outdoor game, whether they're hosting, whether they're a visiting team, I want them to make something inspired that stands out, because this does not. And it, like I said, it feels very late 2010s, and it's that trend. And like I mentioned early in the episode, maybe Adidas already had a bunch of these made up, and that's why they stuck with them. But you had so much time to tweak it. And, it's, again, if they're already made, they're already made. It is what it is. But, to end on a positive note, I've ragged on these jerseys a lot. But, one thing that we cannot lose sight of is that the Hurricanes are going to be hosting a major NHL event. Yeah, we've talked about how poorly it's been marketed, and it has been. but that's on the NHL. Uh, the Hurricanes, yeah, if they had not turned things around when they did, this wouldn't be happening. It wouldn't have originally been scheduled for when it was scheduled. You know, it's because the Hurricanes have turned it around so much that they're having this opportunity to host this game. Because they're not a team, like the Bruins or the Penguins, an original 16 with a lot of name recognition that could get these events based solely on their name. Florida Panthers as well, hosting the All-Star game. Yeah, the Hurricanes did, back in 2011, that's because they try to give it to everyone. But, quite often it kind of seems like, events go to these bigger, more recognizable teams, and, every now and again it'll go to another one. So had the Hurricanes not turned it around, they wouldn't be hosting this. And that's something that's really, really awesome that they're having this opportunity. Whether we like the jerseys or not, whether it was marketed poorly or not, if the Hurricanes didn't turn it around, and Tom Dundon, Dom Waddell, Rod Brind'amour, they didn't turn this team around, the Hurricanes are not having this game. They're not having these uninspired jerseys. They're not having this poor market. They're just not having any of it. And they're just going to be another team that people are making relocation jokes about. And, I do, for these guys that have been around for so long, these guys that have been here since the beginning of it, Andrei Svechnikov, Sebastian Aho, and Jacob Slavin, Brett Pesce, Jordan Stahl, these guys that have been around, I love it for them. And Svech, his rookie year was, that turnaround year. But, you look at the guys that were here before that, Aho, Slavin, you look at Stahl, he's been here for so long, being able to be a part of this. Calvin Hahn, a lot of people give him crap, for he was part of that initial turnaround season. So for Calvin Hahn, Sebastian Aho, Andrei Svechnikov, Teuvo Teravainen, Jordan Stahl. Did I say Jacob Slavin? Yes, I did. Brett Pesce. For these guys to be a part of this, I think is really cool because they've been here through it all, except for Calvin. But, to be a part of this, I think is really cool for them. And, again, Jordan Stahl, having been here for so long, for all these guys to be a part of it, I think is really special. And I think it's, whether you like the jersey or not, it is going to be cool to see these guys out there on the ice in them. And it's going to be a moment that we'll all remember. I'll be sitting next to my dad, watching this game, and I'm trying to get him to wear his jersey that he got, for that inaugural season up in Greensboro, trying to get him to wear that to this. But, we got to get to that game. It's only a few weeks away. So make sure you guys, if you like it, you're getting your merch. If you don't, buy something else you like. And in the meantime, make sure you're following the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes, and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode where I sit down with Dane from Locked On Stars and recap last night's game against the Dallas Stars.